Hello and welcome to the 30th edition of the GreenWave podcast by Synergy International. I'm SYNI, your host, and today's topic is sailing, its heritage as a sustainable means of transport and sailing's place in today's world of sustainable sport and pastimes. We'll spotlight 3 yacht clubs at the heart of sailing's modern sustainable identity. Picture yourself on the open sea with only the wind to propel you forward. That simple image of a boat under sail holds a powerful lesson. Sailing has always been about working with nature's forces rather than against them. Unlike a motorboat churning out exhaust, a sailboat glides with the breeze, leaving barely a trace. In today's world, where cutting carbon is on everyone's mind, this age-old practice feels remarkably fresh. Sailors tend to develop a deep respect for the sea and environment, because when you're out there reading the wind and waves every day, you see firsthand how the ocean and climate are changing. Spotting a piece of plastic floating miles from shore or noticing unusual weather patterns can turn anyone into a passionate advocate. It's no wonder many sailors become champions for clean oceans, organising beach cleanups and speaking up about protecting the waters that carry them. After all, a healthy ocean is not only vital for their sport, but for the planet and for future generations. It's worth remembering that sailing was a sustainable solution long before that word existed. For thousands of years, wind-powered ships were humanity's only means to cross oceans. Think of the great age of sail when merchant vessels and explorers like Magellan or Columbus circled the globe without a single drop of fossil fuel. They followed the trade winds and currents, proving that nature could carry us vast distances. Even before that, Polynesian navigators sailed across the Pacific using only the stars and their deep knowledge of ocean swells, leaving no carbon footprint as they connected far-flung islands. Of course, the industrial age eventually introduced steamships and diesel engines, which made travel faster but tethered it to burning coal and oil. Now, in a poetic turn, we're looking to the old ways for inspiration again. Modern engineers are experimenting with fitting sails and kites on cargo ships to cut fuel usage, showing that what's old can be new again. It seems those centuries-old maritime practices have clues for a cleaner future after all. The sailing world at large is currently riding this wave of sustainability, even at the highest levels of competition. Take the ocean race, a grueling round-the-world regatta. It now equips boats with scientific instruments to collect data on water quality and microplastics in remote seas. At each stopover, sailors join scientists and policymakers to push for ocean protection, proving that even fierce rivals on the water can unite for a common cause. Likewise, new events like Sail GP, which features nation teams racing cutting-edge foiling catamarans, have woven sustainability into their fabric. Sail GP proudly claims to be the first climate-positive sports league. They run an impact league alongside the racing, rewarding teams, not just for podium finishes, but for reducing their carbon footprint and promoting inclusivity and eco-friendliness. Even long-established events like the America's Cup are starting to go green. The next edition is introducing hydrogen-powered support boats to replace gasoline engines. Across the sport, from grassroots regattas to global championships, sailing is proving that competition and conservation can sail in harmony. Sailing has also always been about community and shared knowledge. In the old port days, sailors would swap tips about winds and currents. Today, yacht clubs and sailing schools pass on that wisdom while also adding a new kind of education. Many yacht clubs now see themselves as guardians of their local waters. They're forming green committees, installing solar panels on clubhouses, switching to eco-friendly materials, and setting up recycling and water refill stations at their docks. When they host regattas, they strive to leave no trace, no plastic litter, no oil spills. Many sailors embrace the motto, "Take nothing but memories, leave nothing but wake," reflecting a commitment to minimise their impact on the water. There's even a program called Clean Regattas that clubs follow to certify that their events meet high environmental standards. All these efforts, big and small, are turning sailing hubs into model citizens of the coast. Let's spotlight a few yacht clubs around the world that have been sailing ahead on the sustainability front. On the west coast of the United States, the San Diego Yacht Club in California, founded in 1886 and often called SDYC, is one example. This club, famous for its America's Cup-winning racing pedigree, has channeled sunny San Diego's climate into a sustainability win by covering its rooftops with solar panels. The goal is to produce as much energy as they use, essentially aiming for a net zero clubhouse. They also built their newer facilities with features like solar water heating and permeable pavement that prevents polluted runoff, keeping the adjacent bay cleaner. San Diego Yacht Club was among the early adopters of the Clean Regattas program too. When they hosted a world championship about a decade ago, they made sure it met strict green criteria, from eliminating single-use plastics to educating visiting sailors about local marine life. That set a tone. Nowadays, almost every event they run emphasizes recycling, reducing waste, and respect for the sea. Their junior sailing programs even include lessons about ocean conservation, instilling that sailor's responsibility in the next generation. The message is clear at SDYC. Enjoying the ocean and taking care of it must go hand in hand. Beyond energy and waste, SDYC has been steadily retooling every corner of its operation to shrink its footprint. The club has begun phasing in electric outboards for its chase and coach boats, cutting both fuel use and noise pollution on racecourses. Dockside, a smart water management system, captures runoff from boat washing and filters it before it ever reaches the bay, while bait station traps positioned under the pontoons collect floating debris that would otherwise drift out to sea. Regatta management has gone paperless. Race notices, results, and protest forms live on a mobile platform, saving thousands of sheets each season. In the galley, chefs source locally caught seafood, certified by the Monterey Bay Aquarium's Seafood Watch program, and compost organic scraps through a partnership with a nearby urban farm. SDYC's Environmental Committee hosts quarterly Science and Sailing evenings, where researchers from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography present their latest findings on ocean warming and microplastics, then take members down to the docks for hands-on sampling. During the annual Lipton Cup, visiting teams sign a sustainability pledge, refill water bottles at solar-powered hydration stations, and compete in a shoreline cleanup challenge the day after racing. By weaving eco-actions into every tradition, the San Diego Yacht Club proves that heritage and forward-thinking can share the same tack. If you stroll out the gates of the San Diego Yacht Club and follow the scent of sea salt and linguiça toward Harbour Island, you'll trace the very footsteps of Azorean tuna fishermen who sailed halfway across the Atlantic and Panama Canal to settle here a century ago. Those hardy mariners, many from tiny villages on San Miguel, Tercera, and Fayal, helped turn San Diego into the tuna capital of the world, and they carried with them the same wind-wise skills and reverence for the ocean. Their legacy lives on in the whitewashed Portuguese church, the bustling little market stocked with bolo levedou and codfish, and the community hall, where fado music drifts out on warm evenings, each landmark sitting within view of SDYC's masts. It's a living bridge between the Pacific and the Mid-Atlantic. Two sailor communities, an ocean apart, sharing one cultural compass that points toward family, faith, and an enduring duty to protect the waters that feed them. Now let's journey to the Azores, all the way to Ponta Delgada, the capital of San Miguel Island, home of the local Clube Naval de Ponta Delgada, founded in 1901. The club's marina has flown the coveted European blue flag for over 20 years straight, signalling clean water and eco-friendly management. But perhaps the most inspiring project here connects the past to the present. The club rescued a pair of old whaling sailboats that once would have chased whales and turned them into a living museum and community program. In a space called the Casa dos Botes, House of Boats, these beautifully restored wooden whaleboats are now used to teach traditional sailing and rowing. Club members and local youth train on them and even hold regattas, not to glorify whaling, but to celebrate Azorian heritage and the art of moving with the wind. It's a poignant transformation, tools of the old whaling industry repurposed to promote appreciation for the ocean and its creatures. Young sailors who learn on these boats gain a personal connection to their maritime culture and a sense of why protecting the ocean is so vital. Beyond this, Clube Naval de Ponta Delgada leads beach cleanups and workshops on marine conservation for the community and visiting boaters. By blending cultural preservation with environmental action, this little club on a volcanic island makes a big impression. Stroll a little farther along the basalt waterfront and you'll see how Clube Naval de Ponta Delgada has elevated its eco-game beyond that blue flag. Solar beacons now light the breakwater, cutting the marina's nighttime energy draw by half, and the dock planks come from recycled Azorian pine pulled out of hurricane-damaged forests. The club's green mooring pilot swaps heavy chains for elastic bands that hover above fragile seagrass meadows, keeping anchors from scarring the lagoon. Water quality sensors installed with the University of the Azores feed live data to a public dashboard so locals can track temperature spikes and nutrient loads in real time. Visiting yachts are encouraged to offset their passage by planting endemic laurel saplings on the island's slopes. Crew members often trade foul weather gear for gardening gloves before hitting the town's cafes. Education runs deep here too. The club's Mar e Vida program pairs marine biology students with junior sailors to sample plankton and log cetacean sightings during afternoon training runs. The data goes straight to the Regional Biodiversity Atlas and helps inform whale watching guidelines. Regatta culture has gone low waste. Race packets arrive as QR codes, starting signals echo from hand-cranked foghorns instead of disposable flares, and biodegradable race marks double as reef habitat once the season ends. Even the restored whaleboats have embraced the future. Electric chase dinghies escort them, ensuring that the only fuel burned is in the spectators' excitement. By mixing high-tech monitoring, hands-on science, and a dash of island-style hospitality, Clube Naval de Ponta Delgada proves you don't need a big budget to cast a long green shadow across the Atlantic. Over in the Mediterranean, another club has taken a high-profile stance on sustainability. The Yacht Club Costa Smeralda, YCCS, in Sardinia, Italy. Known for hosting prestigious regattas and glamorous yachts, YCCS decided to leverage its influence to protect the seas that make its coast so beautiful. In 2017, as the club turned 50, it launched the One Ocean initiative. YCCS organised an international forum on marine conservation and introduced the Charta Smeralda, an ethical code of conduct for sailors and yacht owners to commit to protecting the ocean, things like reducing plastic use and safeguarding marine life. The club didn't just talk the talk, it audited its own operations to find greener ways of doing things. Since then, YCCS has rolled out sustainability measures at its events. For instance, cutting out single-use plastics at regattas, ensuring race committee boats minimise emissions, and inviting scientists and environmental experts to speak to members and guests. They even set up the One Ocean Foundation to continue research and advocacy beyond the club itself. YCCS also has a youth sailing team, and it makes sure these up-and-coming sailors carry forward a message of environmental responsibility wherever they compete. By mixing elegance with eco-mindedness, this Italian yacht club is showing that luxury and sustainability can share the same horizon. Luxury hasn't dulled YCCS's green edge, it's sharpening it. The club recently upgraded its Porto Cervo base with a photovoltaic roof that now supplies more than 60% of its annual electricity, while shaded parking bays double as EV charging stations for members' cars. Its race management fleet is transitioning to hybrid hydrogen-electric REBs, slashing emissions and engine noise in Sardinia's dolphin-rich waters. When the Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup comes to town, all competitors receive reusable sailcloth tote bags stitched by a Sardinian social enterprise, and all wet bar cocktails are served with seaweed-based straws, small touches that feel chic yet purposeful. Shoreside, the One Ocean Foundation's Seabin devices quietly skim microplastics from the Marina Basin, and guests can view live filtration data on touchscreens in the clubhouse lobby. Again, education anchors the effort. Through the Young Azura Academy, teenagers learn foiling on Persico 69Fs while completing workshops on marine science and sustainable yacht design. Their homework includes calculating each training session's carbon intensity. YCCS also funds PhD scholarships at the University of Cagliari to study Mediterranean Posidonia, seagrass carbon sinks, turning glamour yachts into floating research platforms by loaning sensor kits to visiting captains. Regatta village food stalls source only local, low-impact ingredients. Think Pain Carousel and 0 kilometre goat cheese. And surplus meals go to an Olbia food rescue charity. Plastic water bottles are banned outright. Instead, sleek refillable flasks, laser-etched with the Charter Smeralda logo, are issued to every sailor, volunteer, and journalist. At the trophy ceremony, winners lift cups made from recycled aluminium recovered from Sardinian beaches, a fitting symbol that prestige and planetary care can sail the same luxurious course. These 3 clubs, in California, the Azores, and Italy, are just a few examples of how the sailing community is embracing sustainability worldwide. A growing number of sailing expeditions even invite all people, that means landlubbers too, to take part in citizen science or ocean cleanups while they voyage, turning travel by sail into an adventure with a purpose. Many others, from Hong Kong to New England, are following suit by ditching disposable plastics, powering facilities with clean energy, and becoming advocates for the seas. It's a heartening trend. A sport and pastime deeply connected to nature is putting that connection front and centre, acting as a force for positive change. There's something profoundly hopeful about this. If more people choose a wind-powered afternoon on a sailboat instead of firing up a gas engine, that's a small win for the planet. But beyond that, the sight of a graceful schooner or a high-tech racing yacht skimming along with just the wind can ignite the imagination. Some adventurous travellers even choose to sail across oceans rather than fly, turning a voyage into a low-carbon adventure. It shows that modern life can find inspiration in old wisdom, technology and tradition working together for a cleaner future. As the saying goes, we cannot direct the wind, but we can adjust our sails. The sailing world is doing exactly that, adapting its practices to protect what it loves. In the process, it keeps alive the spirit of exploration and freedom that sailing has always embodied, while steering that spirit toward healing our blue planet. There is a poetry to travelling by the grace of the wind. It reminds us that sometimes the best way forward is to look back to timeless traditions. That's a wrap on our 30th GreenWave podcast episode. We appreciate you sharing more of your time with us this week. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Podchaser, Boomplay, and Player FM. So feel free to follow the pod and share with friends. We'd love if you would leave us a review. If you have missed any of our LinkedIn posts or the GreenWave Gazette, you can always catch us on LinkedIn, X, Facebook, Instagram, or visit synergy-international.net. We'll keep reflecting on the trends shaping sustainable finance and global policy. Until next time, keep riding the green wave of sustainability.